It's time for Talkin Tauntauns, your Star Wars source at AIPTcomics.com.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Talkin Tauntauns. I am Jim Lehane, and with me as always is Nicole Herview.
Hello there.
How are you doing, Nicole?
Oh, I'm doing great. Technology hates me. No, it's fine. We just basically have been trying to record for the last half an hour. And it's been going great on my end. It's all me. It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. But we figured it out. So that's, yeah.
I didn't want to say anything, but
Yeah.
yes, it's you.
It's me.
It's not
Hi.
me, it's you.
Yeah. It's bad. It's bad, but it's fine. We figured it out. We're okay. Things seem to be running smoothly, which is insane.
Oh, well, now you just jinxed it.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Well, what had happened was when everything froze, I started cursing at the computer and then it shut down on me. I was like, oh, you can hear me. Okay. Okay. That's cool. That's really cool. I got a black screen and I was like, is this it? Like, is this the end?
That's it. You sent me a picture and you're like, I'm like, are you showing me something? Because there's nothing on your computer.
I'm showing you that there's nothing on my screen. But yeah, otherwise, apart from technological troubles and woes, I'm good. I had a good Memorial Day weekend. Trying to get Taylor Swift tickets for 3 days and failing every single day. It was awesome. No, it was fine. It was good. It was relaxing, a good mix of fun and sitting on my couch and doing nothing, which is great. I feel like I need a full week of that. And I might be getting it soon because I am gonna have oral surgery very soon. I don't know when. My consultation is Tuesday. So I won't basically be able to speak for like 5 days. So that'll be fun.
It's going to make it difficult to do the podcast.
It's going to make it not a thing. But I don't know when it's happening. So there, you know what I mean? Like there's kind of no way to schedule around it when you don't know when it's happening.
Well, what we can do is you can write down what you want to say and hold it up to the camera, and I
y'all
will
can
just
say it for
read
me.
it.
Yeah, that is a thing. Yeah, I could do that. We'll figure it out, man. It's one of those things that like I've had this appointment for 2 months. Like it took me 2 months to get a consultation, 2.5 actually, and but like literally they could be like, oh well, we could schedule you for surgery next week, and I'll be like, oh okay.
What are you doing now?
What are you doing immediately? And
I've had doctors do that. They're like, yeah, what are you doing now? Like, what?
Yeah. I don't think it'll be like that because I can't drive myself home afterwards. You know?
You can. It just...
Can't. They put me under so much anesthetic. Like, I won't go into detail because I know some people are very, very, like, sensitive to teeth things. But there was an issue with my wisdom teeth coming out last time. And part of it is still in there. And that's the issue. We need to go back in and get it out because there's issues. But it's because I started waking up.
Oh.
So they stopped. And I remember very vaguely, and this is so goofed, because I was coming out of drugs, right? And I remember the surgeon being like, hey, listen, like, I didn't get to finish. So, like, if something's weird, you're going to have to come back and we're going to have to take care of that. 5 years later, we're finally taking care of that. So that's what's going on in my life.
That's what I went to the dentist and like got the whole like dentist and me don't normally get along. But they did a whole scan and I had never had the scan done and I'm like, yeah, I never got my wisdom teeth.
Oh, buddy.
And I thought I was one of those because there are people out there who just do not get wisdom teeth.
Right.
Actually, I feel like people of Native American descent frequently don't get the wisdom teeth. Don't quote me on that.
That's interesting.
But I'm pretty sure that's the case. And so they did the scan. They're like, oh, no, you got them. They're just completely like under the gum line. I think they rotated and they're under the gum line. They never like fully came in. And I'm
Yes.
like, is that something you need to remove? He's like, as long as they're fully under the gum line, you're fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Mine were goofed. I won't. But I will say that anyone with a small mouth, believe it or not, me, I've always had a mouth too small for all my teeth. So I've had about 13 extractions throughout my life. Like, the amount of teeth that are just not in my mouth are a lot. Like, a lot. A lot of them were before, like, when I was a kid, so I could get braces basically quicker, because they were like, we got to pull these out so then they can, like, your adult teeth can come in and you can get braces, more or less. But before that, after that, I've still had to have many teeth removed because they just didn't fit in my face. So I've done this a lot. Where was I going? Oh, for anyone who might be growing, like, have kids or like whatever, basically if you're under the age of 25 and you haven't had your wisdom teeth removed, get them out now, because that is my problem. I waited.
Well, that's what they said. That's what they told me. Like, you waited way too long.
Way too long. At a certain point, the top ones will be fine. And one of my top ones had come out because it was impacted or erupted or one of those things that they're like, okay, that's got to come out. The other 3 I got out all at once. But the bottom 2, I had to have what's called a coronectomy, where they go in and they just take the crown out because the roots are sitting on the nerves of your jaw. And if they were to remove them, they could do permanent nerve damage to your face. So they were like, if we take the tooth out, we could rip the nerve and you will have a numb jaw for the rest of your life. Because there's no way to fix that. Like, you're done. You're out. Or we just take the crown out. So that's what I had to have done. And it wasn't fully...
just in this
I'm
discussion.
sorry. It was awful. So to spare yourself that, if you're wondering, like, oh, maybe I should get my wisdom teeth out, or your kid, or whatever, do it as early as possible, because I have complications because it was a coronectomy, basically. I won't go into more detail because it sucks. I know it sucks. Apologies, y'all. But yeah, that's my word of wisdom. If you are under that age or have kids or nephews or nieces or whatever, that's my advice. Is if they're like, maybe, but you can wait. No, do it now. Like, it's to be like, I think it's just because at a certain age, they just start to move onto their side, basically. And that's how you get the roots on the nerves of your freaking face. And they're still there. I just had the x-ray. The roots are still sitting, like, they haven't moved. They're still sitting on the nerves. So they're just going to be there forever.
It sounds...
Isn't that fun?
Terrible. I'm sorry.
I can't feel them or nothing, but they're just, every time I get an x-ray on my face, I'm like, oh, look, floating bottoms of teeth just in my jaw. They're just there.
They're just
because it's whatever. Yeah, the hope is that they then float up off of the root because they have room.
Like ice
and then
cubes.
they can go back in and then take them out.
It's
I
like
don't know
the
how
Titanic.
that's supposed to work when they're like in my face, but that was the hope. But it didn't happen 5 years later, so they're just gonna be there.
So
my jaw
here's
hurts
hoping-
thinking about this, y'all. But the point is that at some point very soon, I will be out of commission, out of nowhere. So that'll be
Here's
fun.
hoping your face doesn't sink like the Titanic.
Thank you. I'd like to avoid that. How are you, Jim?
I'm all right. We spent the week trying to jumpstart spring, I guess, around the house.
Yeah.
Our tractor needed a 50-hour, like the tractors are different than cars. Like cars, you get like an oil change after a certain amount of miles. Tractors go by hours.
Sure.
And
okay.
so after you get a service every 50 hours on our tractor.
Got it.
And I had called them about 4 weeks ago and said, I need service. And they're like, yeah, everybody else also needs service because it's the beginning of spring.
Yeah.
And so, like, we'll let you know when we can get you in. Like, okay, that's great. And then last week, I called again. Like, you never called me back. He's like, oh, yeah, the scheduler quit right about that same time that you called. So I'm like, and you fell through the cracks.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, well, on top of that, one of the blades on our mower broke off.
Oh, good.
Like the bolt sheared. And I can't fix it. I don't know how to get a bolt out of the tractor. And he's like, basically, there's a good possibility you won't be able to get the bolt out of the tractor because it would have fused in when it sheared off.
Oh, no.
You'd have to replace the entire...
that sounds bad.
Well, you have to replace the entire spindle that the bolt goes in. Like, okay. And so he's like, bring down the tractor, bring down the mower. We'll get everything settled for you now. Well, a week later, I picked up the tractor on Monday. They were actually able to get the bolt out of the mower. My problem is that I had put the tractor the mower into the bed of my pickup truck. It did not fit in the bed of my pickup truck. And I pulled up with the tractor on our trailer and the mower in the bed of my pickup truck. And the guy looks at it and goes, huh, never seen anybody do that before. How did you get that in there? I'm like, I used the tractor to lift up the mower and put it in. He's like, oh, okay.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it scratched the hell out of the side of my truck.
Oh,
too.
I'm sure it did.
Yeah. And so I took 2 trips to get everything back, but they're a half hour away. And in the opposite direction that I go every day to drop my daughter off in school. So it's literally like her school is a half hour north or 20 minutes north. This tractor place is 30 minutes south.
Good.
Dead opposite. Like I drive through my front yard to get from one to the other, even if I wasn't going to my house in the middle. And so, yeah, it was a lot of driving this week to get everything home. And on top of that, we were hooking up the pool. Getting the pool all cleaned, getting the cover off, and I hooked up the pump that we had bought. We had told that the pump and the filter are too small for the pool, but we were hoping, because it's the cheap-ass pool. The pool itself is actually great, even though it's so cheap, but the pump we were told was too small, which makes sense because it's a cheap-ass pool. And it's the mechanical parts are the expensive parts. And so we hooked it up. All of the seals had shrunk. And so this, like the filter was flowing water everywhere before I even turned it on. I'm like, well, let's replace this. Well, there next to the tractor place, guess when the tractor wasn't done? When I had to go and get it.
Yeah.
So I literally drove a half hour south every single day this week because either to get the tractor, the mower, or the pool parts.
Wow.
Because like that's how it worked out. But we got the pool set up with the new filter, and we were able to get it cleaned out, and we could actually go in it yesterday. After school, we went into my daughter and I went in the pool. It was fantastic, nice and warm, which is not what I was expecting for the first day of the season.
Yeah.
That was the week. The wife got the lawn mowed. She mows the lawn. I got the tractor all hooked up, and everything is. It was a long week, but it worked out in the end, and an expensive week.
Jeez.
Very expensive.
Yeah, you did a lot. You did a lot. That's for sure. Nice.
All right, we ready to talk some Star Wars?
Oh yeah, this is a Star Wars podcast.
It is a Star Wars podcast.
I guess that's fine.
Your tauntaun will freeze before you reach the first marker.
Then I'll see you in hell. Hello, what have we here?
So I got 2 pieces of news.
Okay.
The first one is Tamora Morrison is reportedly returning as Captain Rex in Ahsoka.
Oh, you could tell I just learned that. Who? Live action Rex?
Yes. So, hold on. Before you get excited, the website that is reporting this is onetakenews.com.
No. Not sure about that one.
Yeah, I've literally never heard of this website before.
No.
And they're not linking it to anything.
Yeah, then I don't know about all that.
So,
I wish.
Super tentative. I feel like this could be a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah.
It's one of those, like, I feel like they could be making up news because it sounds plausible.
Correct. Yeah. Probably. I don't know anything about that site, so I can't say yay or nay. Well, but it sounds like nah.
Yeah, like the it was posted on Discussing Film on the Twitter, which got linked to that website, and I'm like, none of these are what I consider valid sources.
Correct. Yeah, we'll see.
But we will see. Other piece of news is if you have not gotten tickets or bookings on the Galactic Star Cruiser, you are not going to get bookings on the Galactic Star Cruiser. It is entirely sold out. Even before they opened bookings to the general public, when we had talked, they said that the final cruise would be the end of September, the final weekend of September. And that they had other bookings past that point that they had to reschedule. Well,
correct.
Those ones that were past the point that got rescheduled mostly took that final cruise. That final cruise was booked up before they even opened up the cruise availability to everybody else.
100%. Yeah, knew that was going to happen.
Yep, and then the day that they opened up the cruise availability to everybody else, it crashed the system.
Yeah.
And they were sold out. I don't even know if there's a time of how long it took them to sell out, because with the system was constantly crashing like throughout the day, and it was like up and down for what I heard throughout the day. I didn't try.
Yeah.
As we talked about before.
No, me neither.
It just wasn't going to happen.
No. Me and David tried to. Well, we entered that contest every dang day.
That's what I was entering the contest as well. I have no hopes. I've never win the Disney contests. I don't think anybody wins the Disney contests. I'm pretty sure nobody wins.
I think someone wins. I just, they probably,
someone is Disney.
Know. Probably. Who knows?
Somehow.
Who knows? But yeah, I didn't hear anything, so I don't think I won. I mean, it closed 3 days ago, so who knows?
Yeah.
But
so other things that I did hear about, because we had talked about what I don't know. Actually, I don't know if we talked about what they have plans for because they have this building here. It is currently a Star Wars themed building. Once this experience closes, what are their plans to do anything with it? It seems right now nothing.
For now,
because they have I forget the text term, but they are getting reimbursements for it. They chalked it up to a loss, and when you do, I wish I knew what the term was. When you do something like that, you can't reuse the building because you already took the tax write-off. That's it. They had a $300 million tax write-off on the Star Cruiser. And so pretty much that right there says that they're not going to do anything with this.
No. They'll probably level it. I'm going to be fully honest with you. They'll probably level it and use the land for something else.
Well, the land wasn't being used.
Maybe.
Well, the land wasn't being used for anything before. Yeah. So it theoretically...
Disney has plenty of land that they are not using yet. And there is something in there... whether it's legal or not, I don't know, but they have something where a percentage of their land is used for conservation. So, they won't touch it. Because that is another tax benefit for them. So, this might go back to that. They might level the building and, plant stuff there and, have a habitat of some kind there. Who knows? Because it is so close to Galaxy's Edge... It's literally connected to Galaxy's Edge, right? Because there's a shuttle or whatever. You have to go from the cruiser to Galaxy's Edge.
I've looked I've
seen the door.
Yeah, I've looked at the aerials of where everything is, and so if you look down on Hollywood Studios, you know how you come in the one side, kind of on the opposite side of Galaxy's Edge.
Correct.
You into Hollywood Studios. Hotel is the backside. It's it's right next to Galaxy's Edge. You do need to take their little box truck to get there, but I do not believe it was very far.
Okay. Because they could just do nothing with it. Like, it's too close to put another kind of, like, I think, hotel there, probably. I don't know.
It does not seem like a good position for a regular hotel experience because I don't think there's enough space there. Because that's why this they were able to do this one because it's so small. Right. But to do like their expansive resorts, because almost every one of their hotels is huge.
They're big. They're really big. So my guess would be that they either level it, use it as a park expansion, because it's so close to the park, they could add to Hollywood Studios. They don't need to. There's so much there now. But they could. They could build on Galaxy's Edge. Like, they could expand Galaxy's Edge if they wanted to. There's a lot that they could do with that land and just level the building, which I think they will. I think that if they had just made it, unfortunately, I hate to say this, if they had just made it a Star Wars themed hotel, just a hotel that was accessible to normies, you know, not like accessible to people who don't want to go and like LARP, you know, and like be immersed in the world of Star Wars and aren't into like basically a choose your own adventure / escape room / Star Wars journey. Like, people who aren't into that niche, of course there are plenty who are. We know plenty of them. We would have been into it. All of that good stuff. But if you go like 3-4 levels down in terms of like enthusiasm from fans and you have something that's just a Star Wars themed hotel.
Affordable. Is like,
make it reasonably affordable. Even if it was a deluxe resort, fine. Like, that. And it's like, oh, yeah, you do this, but, like, you can have a resort day and that's cool. But also, like, you could go to the parks.
Yeah.
A little bit, you know? I think if they had done that and hadn't gone so ham with it, I think it would have done better. Like, unfortunately. Because I think the idea is so good. It is just not financially sound, apparently. Because it was well executed from what I understand. It just, like, the price was bonkers.
So the apparent from what I've heard on pretty good sources is that they had looked at how to fix this it's, I guess not fix, but you know, like make it viable for them. And that was one of the suggestions from what I've heard is just make it like the same experience, but people can come in during the day. And because similar to like the hotels, you can go to any of the Disney hotels and go to the restaurants there, right? And like everybody does it. You go to the, like if you want to go to one of we went to the Fort Wilderness to their restaurant there, but we weren't staying there. They wanted to that option to open it up, but
my family goes to the Polynesian pretty much every time we go. We never stayed there. It's a bucket list for me, but you know.
That's we're gonna be there.
Good for you, man. I genuinely, that sounded sarcastic. I'm genuinely so excited for you.
I'm super excited.
So excited.
And now I don't need to worry about a marathon because speaking of things selling out before I'm able to get there.
Oh yeah. that. Yeah. So that's a bummer.
Yeah, that was the problem with getting the hotel before the marathon. Is I didn't think the marathon would be the problem in that equation.
And here we are.
And here we are. But now I don't have to worry about it, and I got now extra time in the park.
Yeah, you could just have fun.
All right. But yeah, so it seemed like shuttering the hotel the cruiser was the their best option that they came up
Probably
with.
because they could recoup funds.
Yeah. 300 million is more than a few cruises, I think, even booked at maximum capacity.
Yeah, for sure. But unfortunately, I'll never see the inside of that thing. And so many of us won't, which is, it's just, I wish they had made it more accessible. I really do in some way, but here we are.
Say they booked every single room at $5,000 a room. Mm-hmm. You have 100 rooms. That's $500,000 per cruise.
Yeah. So you need 6 cruises. No, 300 million? Oh my God. Never mind. I'm just trying to get to 3 million.
600 cruises.
100 cruises. No.
So
They're never
600
gonna get-
cruises,
no.
and each cruise is you have 3 days, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know how their overlapping days work. If you leave the
I think
day,
check
then
in
another
and
one
check
starts,
out.
are on the
Check
same
in and
day.
check out could be the same day.
Yeah, but I don't know how they had it. But I guess you could do that. So it
you
would be
could.
2
Yeah.
days. Yeah. So yeah, you would need 1,200 days, which is about 3 years. So it would have taken them 3 years to get at least 3 years to recoup, and that's not even paying anybody.
That's like, yeah, that's just like gross, not net.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah, like
one of those words. But yeah, you're not paying.
You know what
you're
I
not
mean.
paying for the food that people.
that's without
eat. You're not paying-
expenses.
Yeah.
Mhm. We're talking
just-
purely profit. Like if you assume that every dollar is profit, it would take years.
over
Yeah,
3
it
years.
was probably just the intelligent business decision, unfortunately.
And that's and they weren't even booking the thing out. And
No.
this was just but that is back of the envelope math right there. Me going, I
Woof.
can see why they would shutter this. Yeah, that's a lot of
Oh,
money
yeah,
that
for
they
sure.
that they save or get back, I guess.
Yeah. A lot of money they could do other stuff with, like pay their employees.
Which they are. They
Which they are.
raised. Well, I guess they raised Disney World's salaries, but
Yeah, they
Disney
did.
as a whole still has issues with
Of course.
payments.
Of course they do. They're,
All right.
don't get me started. Anyway.
But our topic for the day, I'm really excited for this one because I wanted to see Nicole's reaction to these episodes. We're talking the final 3 episodes of The Bad Batch.
So why haven't I heard of this squad? Experimental Unit Clone Force 99. The defective clones with desirable mutations. They call themselves the Bad Batch.
Which worked really well as an arc. I know the final 2 episodes were premiered on the same day, but even then the third to final episode worked really well with them. It's season 2, episode 14, Tipping Point, episode 15, The Summit, and episode 16, Plan 99. So, how are you doing, Nicole?
How am I doing? Fine. I'm going to be honest with you. Fine. I'm okay. I knew someone was going to die because Twitter's relentless. I, for some reason, thought it was Echo. It wasn't Echo.
It was not Echo.
It was not Echo. I was pretty damn upset about that.
I
Thought it was handled very well. Like, it was executed, sorry for a pun, very well. It's very emotional. It was very upsetting. I'm going to be more upset when Fee finds out.
That was so rewatching these, knowing that Tech dies, their final
Spoilers.
interaction.
Oh, heartbreaking.
Like I'm like rewatching. I'm like, oh, he's like he's teching out on her, and she's like
Oh, yeah.
trying to have the conversation. She's like, I'm here. I'm trying to talk to you,
Hello?
and he's like, yeah, and.
Yeah, that was... They left a lot of potential there, which is brilliant. Like, really, what a good move. Very upsetting. Deeply upsetting.
So do you think he's dead? No body?
Nobody, no death, man. I don't know how he could be alive.
If you look at it,
However, I really don't think he's dead.
that's the thing. It's like he fell, and that entire train car was above him while he was falling. So theoretically, when he hit whatever the ground, the train
no
car
idea.
would have landed on top of him. So unless he somehow miraculously managed to not have that happened,
Yeah.
he is in the hands of Dr. Hemlock, regardless of if it happened or not.
Yeah. He could be very barely alive. I'll tell you what, usually when there's, wow, look at this thing I have from the dead person. Look at, and it's like his goggles, right? Usually that's a signal that the enemy's trying really hard for you, like, to make you believe someone's dead when they're not. Like, methinks the lady doth protest too much, you know?
Because they
it's
would
like you're
have
trying
believed-
real hard.
Because they already assumed he was dead, regardless
Yeah,
if he
they
is
already
or not.
assumed it.
And like
Yeah.
now you're like flaunting these goggles. Like,
What's the purpose of this?
what's your purpose of this? Like, other than trying to emotionally manipulate them at that moment.
I don't know. It could be hope. I could just be hoping that he's not dead, or he's dead, you know? But I think it's odd to kill one of your main characters off screen. Because, like, we saw him fall, we didn't see him die. They're not always the same thing.
True.
In this case, physics would be doing some weird stuff for him to not be dead. But this is a cartoon in a world where people have magic wizard powers. Stuff
Not tech,
get
but
weird.
some people have magic wizard powers.
Correct. There could have been, who knows, there could have been another ship that was like, oh, let's just go snatch that guy out of the air with a tractor beam or some nonsense. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
We didn't see it. There's a lot of weird stuff that could have happened. So I want to treat it like he's dead because narratively that's what they want. But I also have a thought in the back of my head that he's not dead.
So you brought up Echo, and
I sure did.
I have feelings on Echo on this.
Mm-hmm.
Because we had talked, and I always felt like Echo and Tech almost played the same role.
I call them Techo.
Because they're almost
I say it out loud a lot.
They're almost interchangeable because like they're both like the smarter than average bear.
Yeah.
And that was a Yogi reference.
I understood it.
I'm just letting the
Boo-boo.
audience know.
Picnic basket. I understand.
And they're both technological, even like Echo, and so that's why I'm not surprised that Echo left. Also, Echo comes back, and we lose Tech, and it feels like they realized that they were playing the same role, and they needed to get one of them out of there. Also,
I don't know. Mm-hmm.
Also, in Tipping Point, Echo is running an operation trying to get those clones away from Hemlock.
Correct.
One of the clones he's working with we know he's working with Rex.
Mm-hmm.
He's also working with Gregor.
Yes.
When we next see in the timeline Gregor and Rex together, they are on that moon or a planet, whatever, fishing for things. There's no Echo there.
You're right.
And so I wonder, because he's still basically working with Rex, even though he's working with the Bad Batch, even at the end of the season. So
yeah, it's interesting. I have no idea. I have no idea where they're going with any of this. I'm going to be honest with you, because we never see anyone again. You know, like
except
none of the Bad Batch.
Except Rex and Gregor and Wolf.
Right, but I mean the Bad Batch. Of the Bad Batch specifically, we don't see any of them in the future. So, like, they could do something really sad here, or they're just on the pretty planet over there in paradise and they're fine. Like,
it's a big
I
galaxy.
love that for them. Yeah. I mean,
they're on
that'd be great.
Pabu.
Pabu, that's the name I couldn't find. Thank you. That'd be great. If they had just never freaking left Pabu, everything would have been fine.
So it was all Echo.
It was all Echo's fault.
Actually, you know whose fault it was?
Sid?
Saw.
Ooh,
Sid,
Saw Gerrera. Yeah, you're right.
Like Sid,
he
we
really
saw.
Sid
we saw coming. Saw.
That's true.
Like saw through
What
the wrench into the works. So like they're like the entire operation. They're like, all these cameras are off. We need to leave.
Yeah, 100%. They're like, something is amiss, you know? Something has gone awry. Like, we have to leave. And then they don't. Like, they just keep...
They keeping on.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just that, like, it's kids that age or whatever. I don't know what it is for me, but Omega thinking that she is so much more capable than she is drives me nuts. It's very accurate. It's very accurate and very, like, effectively written, but it's just continuously pissing me off.
Well, she
like,
is
over
also,
and over and over again.
She is also more capable than your average kid, like, based on how they wrote her.
1,000%. I'm not saying she's incapable. I'm saying that she thinks she is more capable than she is. She is not quite Hunter yet. She will get, like, I have feelings. She could get, like, she is perfectly has that potential, but she thinks she's there now. And I'm like, baby girl, you are being so reckless sometimes.
So are you
and
talking
it's driving me nuts.
Are you talking about at the end where she tries to save Hunter and Wrecker?
Yeah. That pissed me off.
I think,
of course, what else was she going to do? Honestly, like, what else is she going to do?
I think
but there are so many moments.
Yeah, that one made sense to me, though. It was one of those, like, this is a really dumb thing to do, but you just lost Tech.
Yeah, and what else? What? She's alone. What is she meant to do? You know what I mean? Like, besides find freaking Echo and then work together, like a whatever. But it makes sense. I'm not saying it is illogical the way they're writing her. It totally makes sense. Everything that she does logically, yeah, I get it. It's still aggravating me.
No, I understand.
Because I'm like, oh, the confidence. Like, why are you not watching your 6, baby girl? Like, why are you not, like, why is your plan, right? And I understand this is done in emotion and, like, just because she has to do something. But her plan is always stand there, point an arrow at them, and say, let them go. Like, anytime a writer writes that scene where someone's just, like, pointing a gun or a weapon and saying, let them go, guess what that's not going to do? Work. And it's just a pet peeve of mine because it's like, baby, you are going in there with 17 guns pointed at you. 17 blasters on you. You've got one. I don't think you just threateningly saying, let them go is going to work. But, like, of course that's what she does. Like, there's nothing else for her to do. She's got no other cards here. Unless she just finds Echo. And they regroup and they work together. You silly, silly child.
Yeah.
Like, but I keep reminding myself, this is exactly what a child would do. Like, this is exactly what a child's gonna do. But it's still getting under my skin, Jim. And I'm just like, I love this character, I do, but she's pissing me off. And, like, I want her to get out of that, like, weird phase where it's like, she's pretty damn capable. And she has a lot of potential, but she thinks she's all the way there. And she's not yet. She has her skill set for sure. Like, when Wrecker is like, there is no way I can, like, plant this thing. I'm too big, but you, small one, like, you can be stealthy. Great. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. She is perfectly capable with that damn bow. Great. But my God, does she think that she's, like, capable of everything? And of course she does. Like, she's hanging out with a bunch of clones
who are
like
capable
her brothers,
of everything.
basically, who are capable of everything. And she's part of that. And it's just very complicated, I think. Yeah, there's a lot there. There's a lot there. And it's the same thing I feel when I see baby Boba, you know, like, leading a bunch of, like, renegades in the Clone Wars. And I'm like, he's 10.
Baby
no
Boba,
way.
Who's literally her brother.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they're very, like, it's the same vibe, basically. They're just the same age and, like, really think they know everything. Which I guess, like, a 13, 14-year-old really does think they know everything.
Yeah, as the father of a 13-year-old, yes.
I was going to say, does that sound right, Jim?
Oh, yeah.
But as someone who was once 13, not so long ago.
Yeah.
Almost 2 decades ago.
Oh, I'm like, you're
but
16 now?
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's definitely correct. But yeah, it's like, ooh, it might be like, ooh, I see that hits too close to home. Like, don't like that. But it's distracting, honestly. And for me, even though these 3 episodes were good, I didn't enjoy any of it.
No,
I really didn't get joy out of any second of that show. Like, it's very upsetting.
These 3 episodes, they were really, really good. And like, I really enjoyed watching them again because they are just so good. And they're set up, like, I think the way the seasons are going, season 2 is The Empire Strikes Back. Where
that makes
everything fails. I was just looking back at Tipping Point, which is episode 14.
Yes.
And out of these 3, 14, 15, and 16, nothing works for anybody.
No,
like,
they all
everybody's plan fails.
Yeah, sure does.
Even Hemlock's plan fails. Like, Hemlock is torturing Crosshair for the information on how to get Omega. That doesn't do anything.
Sure doesn't.
He does end up getting Omega, but on like completely separate information.
Yes. And it's interesting that Crosshair, I mean, he really doesn't know much, but he does have communication code, clearly. But he's not given anything away. And I kind of am like, I don't know. Crosshair is a big question mark for me right now.
Well, he also warned the Bad Batch. Like, he got out a warning.
Yeah. So it's not like he has nothing to offer, right? If he really wanted to get out of this situation, he was being like a jerk about it. He could very easily be like, I don't know where they are, but I know how to find out. And like use that code. You know what I mean? Like he could be using that. He's not, which I think is interesting. And yes, the fact that the first thing he did was try to go warn the Bad Batch that they had to like, that
lay low.
Someone was after Omega. Yeah. Like, interesting, Crosshair. I feel like that boy's waking up a little bit. Or a lot, really. I honestly think his moments were some of the strongest this season. Like, the whole season. I was just, like, rooting for Crosshair the whole time. And which is interesting.
Yeah, and this was... So they get the clones... They free the clones that get kidnapped. Echo and Team and Gregor. But they try to find... This is where they found that Crosshair was captured.
Mm-hmm.
And they found the warning. But they try to find where Mount Tantus is. They find no information on it. They find no information on Hemlock. All they know is that he is meeting with Tarkin on Iriadu. And I didn't realize, like, mentally, I had thought that they got to Mount Tantus. I didn't remember that everything was on Iriadu.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where they end up going. The last 2 episodes, they go to Iriadu so that they can track the ship. They put the tracker on, and then Saw done blown everything up.
Freaking Saw Gerrera. Like, he's so misguided, that poor boy. Like, Jesus, Murphy.
So they went out of their way, I feel, to show Saw and that other rebel together. And the other rebel definitely had a female coded voice.
Lady voice, yeah.
Yeah. Timeline wise, that doesn't make sense whatsoever to be Jin, but I wonder if they are trying to indicate that it might be.
I don't think so. Maybe her mom?
No, because her mom was basically the doting stay-at-home wife, because that's what she had to play.
Yes,
because
you're
her
right.
husband was basically under lock and key.
Yes. This is true. I don't think so. I think that is so far off timeline wise that they wouldn't even want you to think that. I don't know, because I don't know, but my brain didn't go there. Is as much as I can say for sure. Is my brain didn't go there.
Well, I had thought, I'm like, did they jump time a lot more than I thought they did? But it still doesn't make any sense, because the beginning of Rogue One, where Jin is clearly a little kid,
yes,
takes place at the same time as Solo. They're almost overlapping, which is 10 years before A New Hope.
Right.
Several years after this is supposed to take place. But again, if they have a time jump, it is what it is. But you have TIE fighters at that time. And here they definitely do not have TIE fighters.
Right.
And
I don't know.
And Tarkin's home planet would be one of the first places to get the new tech.
Yes, absolutely. Although I did love the other tie to Rogue One being
Yes.
freaking Krennic
Yeah.
talking
and it
about
was,
Project Stardust.
It was.
And I'm just sitting there like, oh my.
And it
And it
was.
looked just like what's his nuts.
And it was voiced by him, but I think it
Yeah.
may have been a Mendelsohn. I forget which
Ben Mendelsohn.
Ben Mendelsohn. Yes, because I'm like,
I
there's another
believe-
Mendelsohn.
Yeah, I believe they just took lines from Rogue One.
I would assume either that or outtakes.
Yeah.
So it's not
Yeah,
direct
it's
lines, but
definitely-
it's
Yeah, they didn't get him in the booth to say 2 words. You're
Because-
not getting Ben Mendelsohn there for two words.
well, you know who was not in this episode or not voicing his character in this episode was Saw Gerrera.
Yeah. I noticed.
Was not
Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker. Thank you. Names are escaping me. It was played by Andrew Kishino, who I assume is a voice actor.
Yeah.
But I did want to look that
Very
up.
good, but I did
Oh,
notice it wasn't Forrest Whitaker.
Well, it's also a much younger Forrest Whitaker at the time, so
Correct.
It's one of
Correct,
those like,
correct.
yeah, you can get away with a voice actor.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, I hate Hemlock.
Oh
Like,
my god.
The way
Oh
he
my
talks,
god.
it's like just get to the
Point.
point.
Yeah. It's actually incredibly upsetting, and I think it's a brilliant acting choice. I really do. I think to have him so even keel and so calm and have absolutely no fluctuation in emotion is terrifying. Like, absolutely terrifying. I think that the way that they're portraying him is brilliant. And he has to be. He has to have absolutely no humanity in order to be doing what he's doing. And he says stuff so matter-of-factly. Like, just saying stuff like the clones are property of the Empire is like, buddy. Like, it's tough. That's really tough.
Well, you're in a room with, theoretically, these are all either directors or scientists, I assume, because
Correct.
you have Krennic, who's not really a scientist, but he's in charge of the Death Star project. And you have, I assume I do not know who the other people were or what they would be in charge of, because we didn't really focus on them at all. But you have, Hemlock there to be like the one guy, like, what do the clones think about this? And him just look at him and go, what does it matter?
Yeah, it's interesting. That whole conversation was so fascinating. Yeah, very, very interesting. But I will say, when the only other, like, seeing Wrecker defeated, to go another way with this, towards the end of this last episode, seeing Wrecker like so sad and so defeated upset me so much.
Literally
Like,
crying.
poor baby. Like, what a baby. And to see him, like, where we kind of picked up with him on Pabu, like, happy and like a part of the community and like everyone loves it, having a great time, and then where we leave him is
The difference
he's crying.
between the beginning of these 3 episodes and the end of these 3 episodes is so stark that it's
wild.
like if you just didn't get on that ship.
Just don't do it. And of course you can't, then you have no show. But like, oh my god, it is just very upsetting. Deeply, deeply upsetting. Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do, but like, I kind of want to see Daddy Hunter like rip some faces off. Like, I'm kind of looking forward to that a little bit, because he is going to absolutely wreak havoc, and it's gonna be awesome. I also want him to go to Sid and like rip her tail off, but like,
Yeah. Well, everything happened in this last episode, the final episode of the season, Plan 99. Like even with Saw's interference, like even Saw's plan didn't even go as planned. Like, talking about plans that didn't work, he blew up the system and nothing happened. Like,
nothing happened.
the ships blew up. All the directors
They
were
lost
fine.
some stuff.
Yeah,
They're
they
all
lost some
fine.
stuff, but you wanted Tarkin dead. You wanted all those top brats. That's what he wanted, and none of them
Nope.
died.
None of them died. They were
And
all fine.
And so, like, but like, I kept watching this episode. Excuse me. I kept watching this episode with a critical eye. Like, did Tech need to die? And whoever the writers were on this episode focused on that, I feel, because there is nothing that I feel would have saved Tech in this instance.
They try so many different things. They try, just looking at that one incident, that isolated like moment, he's hanging there. Okay, what do you do? They have nothing. Because like it was like someone pull him up. Like Wrecker can pull him up. No, he can't. Like,
you can't get to him because
you can't get to him. Like they tried everything, and I think that they, like you're saying, they really exhausted that. I think it was very intentional and very well done, where you see that he has no choice. Like he's not just being a hero. He is, but like it's because he has no shot. Like
if he doesn't do it, they're all dead.
They all die.
He will literally pull them all down. Well, I guess the car. It's not him,
The car.
but they won't get rid of the car because he's on the car.
Yeah. It was really well done and very well handled, and I'm sad about it, but good play, I guess. Like it was interesting.
But yeah, they go back, they're down, they're beaten. Sid then kicks him in the
Sid
gut.
does that. Very upsetting.
We saw that coming.
Oh yeah, we did.
A mile away, but it was one of those like, oh, really?
I was kind of relieved she didn't try to like hide it or lie about it. Like the second Wrecker was like, "What's up?" she told him. Like,
and then they doubled down on it.
Choice.
Then they doubled down on it with Hemlock giving her the money, like in front of because Hunter didn't know that. Yeah. So it's like we have to double explain that she crushes.
We had to do this twice. Deeply upsetting. Like they were so hurt. It was so sad. They really did set it up well, though. Like we kind of know it was coming, but whatever. It was a tough one for sure. But yeah. And then we get a weird reunion at the end with Crosshair and Omega, where Crosshair's not conscious. But Omega is like very worried about Crosshair. And then we get a drop of lore that I don't think anyone saw coming.
The weirdest reveal.
A strange one. I do remember, because I feel like she's been around for a minute. I feel like it was you who said that was the same voice actor. But nobody really put it together.
It was not me.
Or was it someone else?
I feel like
it's not the same voice actor, but Omega's voice actor voices someone else.
It may have been Raven who said something.
Raven might have said something. As soon as that character said Omega, I was like, oh, okay. I think they're the same. They're the same.
I don't think it's the same actress.
Okay.
Because
then I made that up.
Is her name Dr. Skulder? Or do we know?
Could be.
What's her name? I don't know her character.
I don't know her name. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the voice actor for Omega and see if she voices anybody else. I'm going to look into this. Bad Batch. Okay. Bear with me. Omega. No, I don't think she does.
Yeah, because like if you look at...
No, she doesn't.
Would list her.
She's a very young girl.
Characters.
Yeah, it's Michelle Ang. Wrong.
Yeah, she's... I've seen her live on Celebration. She's like huge fan.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes.
But yeah, they're definitely not the same person.
The character's name is Dr. Skulder. And the actor's name is Helen Sadler. So definitely a different actor.
Definitely a different person. But the second she said Omega, I was like, oh, okay. I see. Which is interesting. That opens a can of worms that I wasn't really anticipating.
She's
it's
clearly
kind of
a
out of
different
nowhere.
age.
Oh yeah.
But here's what I'm thinking. She seems to be age-wise on par with the genetically modified clones.
Correct.
Who we know of Rex and all the other ones. Omega is similar age-wise as Boba Fett. We
Boba
know
Fett.
Boba Fett is an unaltered clone. So my
Correct.
guess is that she is an unaltered clone, which also makes her one of the valuable, why she's
That's
valuable.
what I think they established that like season 1 that she was unaltered.
Yeah, but I think this sister, Dr. Sadler, if she is, I assume she's not lying. I don't see any reason why she would
I
need
don't
to
think
lie.
she's. Yeah, I don't think she's lying.
She would be also altered
Yeah.
age-wise.
Definitely, 100%. I completely agree. It's interesting. It's just there's a lot there. If she's a clone working on these other clones in this way, what did she do to get into that position? Or what happened to her that she's now in this position? What's
And
going on? And
is
why
she-
isn't Hemlock using her?
What, does he know? And that's what I wondered.
Maybe. Ooh,
Also-
she might be an inside person. There's a lot that could be going on there.
There is. And so, but if she is an inside person, by out and telling Omega that seems like an iffy decision.
It is an iffy decision unless she's gonna help Omega disappear again. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the motivation is yet. I don't know anything about this character. She's very interesting though. And very present in these last few episodes.
She made herself a whole lot
right
more
there.
interesting with that reveal too.
Yeah, she really did. I'm compelled. I'm compelled. But
Also, I assume their project. So, like, you have this and you have the Mandalorian, which are
Yes.
both dealing with cloning against people's will.
yes, big yes.
If we look at the sequel trilogy, we know that Rey is the daughter of a cloned emperor.
Of a clone.
The Mandalorian does not fit that timeline. The cloning and the Mandalorian, because Rey would be born around the time of the Mandalorian, but she is the daughter of a clone.
Sure.
She is not the clone. So this
Yes.
has to be Palpatine's clone that we're looking at. So
Right.
this is what's going on in the Bad Batch is the cloning of Palpatine, because they even said outright,
Correct.
this is
Correct.
Palpatine's project.
Correct. And that means that the cloning in the Mandalorian is just for what's his nuts? Giancarlo Esposito.
Yes.
Moff
but-
Gideon.
But it also could be
yeah.
it could be Snoke.
Yes, it could be Snoke. There's a lot going on there. But yes, this is Palpatine. That's not Palpatine. Yes, 100%.
So this is, and we know that's successful
Yes.
to a point, I
Somehow.
guess. Because we
Somehow
know
it's
the
successful.
we know the clone is not force sensitive,
Right.
and so to a point, it is successful. And I believe we read somewhere that there's multiple clones. That this is not the only clone.
Oh, sure.
So interesting. I would be interested to see how they tie that in.
Yeah.
Because every time they brought in, I think Palpatine they brought in once, and it was the most like notable. Like they did it very well in that they're not oversaturating us with Palpatine. So
Right.
all right, I think that's all I have.
Yeah, I'm good. I didn't have much, honestly, on these. It definitely felt like Empire. So we'll see what happens next season.
And we know it's got renewed for another season. I think the anticipation was that it comes out next year. Is that what I recall? So we should be seeing this in about 5 years.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to take a minute. Ridiculous.
All right. And I believe our plan is for the next episode next week, unless Nicole has her mouth fused shut, is
I
to
wouldn't
do
be by then. I think we're good.
our next part of the Clone Wars rewatch.
Yay.
So, with that, you can find us on Twitter at Talkin Tauntauns. You can email us, talkintauntauns@aiptcomics.com. You can join our Patreon through AIPT Comics and join us on Discord. You can leave us a 5-star review in all your favorite and non-favorite podcasting platforms.
Please.
Please. We'd love it. We love anything at all. And with that, we'll see you next week.